Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to step in once again to the most dangerous structure to ever grace WWE. Or at least it would have been had we not, well, PG-ified the chamber when we brought it back in 2017, but none of that really matters. It's Elimination Chamber 2019. We've got all sorts of action. A hell of a chamber match. We've got some other decent matches. One match that really shouldn't be happening. And we are going to crown the inaugural women's tag team champions inside the Elimination Chamber. Now, how exactly are you supposed to fit two of them in there? I mean, two people at a time. I mean, those chamber pods, I don't know if you've seen them, but they're not exactly all that big, but I'm sure they'll find a way. I'm Coffee Lover 239, and with me, as always, once again, is Heathy. Say hi, Heathy.
Yes.
Alright, let's get into it. Our first match is Nia Jax and Tamina, the Samoan Slayers, or something like that. Can't remember the exact name off the top of my head. The Riot Squad, represented by Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, aka Two-Thirds Not Absolution, versus the iconic duo slash iconics, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, versus the Boston Hug Connection, Bayley and Sasha Banks, versus Fabulous Glow, Naomi and Carmella, in a Tag Team Elimination Chamber match for the inaugural Women's Tag Team Championship. Women's Tag Team belts? When did that happen? Well, let me explain. Back on the Christmas Eve 2018 episode of Raw, Vince McMahon announced that the new women's tag team belts, or rather a reincarnated version of them, would be introduced in 2019. They were revealed on the January 14th, 2019 episode of Raw during Alexa Bliss's Moment of Bliss segment and kicked the hell out of the Universal Championship design-wise. And the inaugural champions would be determined at Elimination Chamber in a tag team Elimination Chamber match. 3 teams from Raw, 3 teams from SmackDown each. So the championship is non-exclusive to either brand. And, yeah, here we are. It's kind of nice to see them bring these belts in. It was not a matter of if, but a matter of when. And now, we're going to have them crowned this coming Sunday. Heathy, who do you think's gonna win?
Well, I can only see two teams pulling out the victory here. Nia Jax, they seem to be hot on her, and with Tamina by her side, the best way they could utilize them to is to have them win the titles. But on the other hand, it feels like forever that they've gotten a meaningful storyline. I don't want to count a storyline they've had with each other because that just fizzled out into therapy, which, let's be honest, wasn't the most interesting direction for them to go to. It was a rehash of Daniel and Kane all them years ago. I think it's going to be a bit of a mess of a match. If you look back to 2015 with the Tag Team Elimination Chamber match, Ascension, it was the same concept as what we're going to see on Sunday. And the performers back then are a bit stronger than the performers we're going to see in the Chamber match this Sunday. And that was a bit of a mess itself. Just underwhelming match of that. Also, there's a bit of discussion on whether Bayley and Sasha Banks are going to have a match at WrestleMania, whether it's going to be a Bayley heel turn or Sasha heel turn, who knows. Also, a possibility of we're seeing the women's tag team titles going to be defended on both Raw and SmackDown initially. This could be the start of the brands reuniting. I know Fox has a deal in October, but it could just be a slow that concept. But as far as who's going to win this match, between two teams, the Hug and Boss Connection or the Samoans, and there's going to be a feel-good moment at Mania. I know Becky's probably going to win the title there. Women's tag teams, I think I'm just going to go with and I'm going to go with Nia Jax and Tamina to win, possibly setting up a tag match between Bayley and Sasha Banks at the greatest show of all time.
Yeah, I can see. Looking at the field, there's really only is those two teams. I mean, the Riot Squad is pretty much going to be single-handedly annihilated by Ronda Rousey, and the final blow, we'll get to that when we get to that. Really don't see Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville winning because one of them should probably be feuding with Asuka because she doesn't really have anyone credible to go up against, which explains why she's not on the show. The Iconics, oh, forget about them, sadly, at this point. I don't know, really, who to go with. I mean, I'm kind of leaning towards Bailey and Sasha, just so we can have kind of sort of that whole underdog ordeal. But on the other hand, you could set it up for Mania, but then have the damn four horsewomen have all the women's titles by the end of the night. I don't know, just yeah, in between all the other mess, I'm actually just gonna go ahead and say Bailey and Sasha Banks. There's probably gonna be just some kind of a underdog stuff going on. I mean, they are starting in the match. They are the first entrance in like the match. Them and who's the other team here? Yeah, and not Absolution. Wouldn't it be kind of funny though if it was the Riot Squad and the remains of Absolution actually starting the match, considering the teams never got the chance to cross paths because they were mirrors of each other when that whole thing was going on. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just go with Sasha Banks and Bailey, the Boston Hug connection. Our next match is The Miz and Shane McMahon versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. So yeah, at the Royal Rumble, Miz McMahon, or whatever, let's just say Miz and Shane, defeated the Bar to win the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. On the following episode of SmackDown, the Usos, because really, who else, versus defeated the Bar, New Day, and Heavy Machinery in a Four Corners Tag Team Elimination match to earn a championship match at Elimination Chamber. And really, who else could it have been for those guys? Because quite frankly, that's all it really has been for the SmackDown Tag Division. Like, it's always focused around three teams. Usos, well, it was previously Usos and New Day only, but then the Bar joined once they got drafted to SmackDown, so yeah. I mean, the Usos have still put on a lot of good matches with the other teams and a whole lot of other crazy matches that just make you can't look away, you know? Who do you think's gonna win?
Oh, it's been reported that Jimmy Uso has been arrested. I know this is kind of not to do with the match, but at the same time, it kind of is. So he got arrested for driving under the influence and then proceeding to try and start a fight with an officer.
No. It wasn't Jimmy driving. Actually, it was like him
Naomi,
and
and it was Naomi down the wrong side of the road,
yeah.
which is that's something else entirely. But the rest, I think, it's kind of soured on the match. If WWE would be a bit insane to go and have Usos win after this, it will be the equivalent of slapping them on the wrist and letting them get away with it, and that is a pretty serious offence to be attacking the authority like that. Um, as far as McMahon and Miz go, there's rumours been circulating ever since the World Cup in November to determine the best in the world that these two would be. I know. So could be starting to build up. Maybe some tension could be added in here. I know. Let's just say this: the Usos not winning. It was going to be the case before the arrest. I still think it now. As of Miz and McMahon, I think are going to win, but the heel turn that probably will be saved for Fastlane. They really haven't showed any cracks in the team. It's fairly obvious the turn's going to be coming. Not just because what they've shown in storyline. I mean, just about it logically. So maybe in the next few weeks, the cracks start to show a bit. Somehow, hopefully, it's McMahon just doing some shoot punches because that's what he does best. That's what he's doing best at. I think McMiz are going to retain over the Usos.
Yeah, I mean, the Usos don't even really need the belts right now, quite frankly. And yeah, the McMahon and Miz team. Look, like I was saying, they don't need the fucking belts either. Neither of them need the Usos don't need the belts at the moment. And the Miz and McMahon have not been that champions like long enough at least for them to already go down. Probably cracks will start cracking after Elimination Chamber, and then probably leading up to Fastlane, shenanigans will happen, and then yeah, then that will build up there. It's been 19 days. They've only been champions for 19 days. So, Miz and McMahon will retain. Yeah. Alright, sorry about that whole mess, but let's just get into the second Elimination Chamber match we have for the night. Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Samoa Joe, and Kofi Kingston? When did that happen? Well, let's get into that too. So at the Royal Rumble, Daniel Bryan defeated AJ Styles to retain the WWE Championship with help from a returning Eric Rowan. And on the following episode of SmackDown, Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan pretty much threw away the WWE Championship a la what Alundra Blaze did to the Women's Championship on Nitro back in the day. And basically introduced a new custom belt made from hemp and wood. And I don't know if it honestly looks better or worse than the Universal title, but whatever, that's beside the point. So then Styles confronted Bryan and Rowan, followed by Randy Orton, Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy, and Mustafa Ali. After an ensuing brawl, Triple H scheduled Bryan to defend the championship against the Five in an Elimination Chamber match. And a gauntlet match between the 6 men was scheduled on February 12th to determine who would enter the chamber last. Due to a legitimate injury, however, Ali was pulled from the match and was replaced with the New Day's Kofi Kingston, who was the MVP of that match. Orton won the ensuing gauntlet match with an awesome RKO out of nowhere, making him the last entrant in the chamber. And now here we are. This match is pretty damn stacked enough as is, and there have been some people who thinking Kofi should win the belt briefly, even just like for this, and then have him drop it back to Daniel Bryan at Fastlane or whatever before, but then how the hell are you going to get around that when you got rid of the automatic rematch clause and all that crap, you know? So it's kind of crazy, but still, this match should be pretty good. It's stacked to hell, and yeah. Heathie, who do you think's going to win?
First of all, it absolutely sucks that Mustafa Ali has not been cleared to compete. I feel like, regardless of whether it was Ali or Kofi Kingston, that spot, the Iron Man spot, would have been reserved for one of them too. Silver lining in the cloud. It's good to see Kofi in there. I feel like he's earned it after nearly a decade of hard work. I think over a decade, maybe 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
It gets to the point where Kofi and Daniel Bryan in the final two. I'm not going to go as far as to say Kofi's going to win, because that will be absurd. I mean, maybe in the future, but just not yet. It's too early. I think it's going to be Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania. I think the match that makes the most sense, and anything else will be just pulling it out of thin air. Side note, that belt is ugly as hell. I can see why Daniel Bryan is such a despicable heel if he's introducing titles like that. But I think we're going to be seeing it for another month, at least until Mania. Daniel's going to retain, maybe with the help of Rowan, I don't know, but I think he's, through some nefarious means, through whatever tactics he's going to be making up this weekend, I think he's going to walk out still WWE champion.
Yeah, I see what you mean. And honestly, that hemp belt was introduced not too long ago. It may not look that good, but I'm kind of tempted to almost say that it does look better than the Universal Champion because, oh god, that belt is whatever. Anyways, yeah. I mean, there's definitely going to be some good spots, but I don't even know if I really want Daniel Bryan versus AJ. I mean, again, we already, what? Didn't we have this match as well at TLC, no less? Like, if we had the match here at TLC, if I could just gotta go back a little bit, because there's several other events in between this that aren't main roster. Here it is, yeah. TLC, yeah, we had Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, which there at TLC it was a good match. They decided to have him friggin' rematch a Royal Rumble, and honestly, wasn't bad, but having the crowd like follow it up after like the women's Royal Rumble match, the crowd was exhausted, and they still had like the Universal title match and the whatchamacall, yeah, the men's Royal Rumble like afterwards. So yeah, that first one wasn't as good as the first time around, and I don't even know, like I mentioned, we've seen before that WWE can run a feud into the ground that seems like a good idea on the surface. They did that, funny enough, with AJ Styles and Shinsuke. Not so much AJ and Joe. That feud actually turned out alright for the most part. I just don't want them to do the same here. I mean, there's gotta be some other option, like, I don't know. But for now, I'll say Daniel Bryan will win, and we'll cross the later bridge when we get to it. Our next match is Ronda Rousey versus Ruby Riott for the Raw Women's Championship. So, on the February 4th episode of Raw, Ronda Rousey issued an open challenge for her title. And so the Riott Squad came out, and Liv Morgan accepted the challenge and was defeated. And then immediately after, Sarah Logan stepped up and also lost. Riott did not attempt to challenge Rousey and retreated with their squad. In a backstage interview, Riott stated that she was ensuring that her teammates were okay and claimed she could defeat Rousey at any time. And so they decided to make this match official. So remember when I said that Ronda had already annihilated 2/3 of the Riott Squad and that there was a final blow? This is pretty much the final blow to the Riott Squad. They really haven't been, I'm not even sure, they've been haphazard with how they've been booked on the roster as of late. Like, you want them to be a dominant force, but like, what's the point? Like Absolution, this isn't going anywhere, and probably the only reason Absolution broke up even as early as they did was because Paige was forced to retire. But here with the Riott Squad, it's just been going on longer, and this is probably what they may have devolved into, at least, had they not broken up, or was Paige not forced to retire, and who knows what else could have happened. And so, yeah, Ronda Rousey's already defeated 2/3 of the Riott Squad, and now she's just got to get their leader, and, rest in peace credibility of the Riott Squad. That's all I got for that. Heathie, who do you think's going to win?
Well, it's a shame that the Riot Squad has been not reduced to this, but it's a far cry from where they were a few months back when, not even a few months back, over a year ago, when them and to be heading for a full-on feud, either at Mania or somewhere down the line. This match has been presented as a bit of an afterthought. I think even Ruby, even herself, she acknowledged that the match got announced on Twitter, I think this Wednesday. So it's not like WWE are putting that much consideration into the match itself. I can see this going on before the tag team chamber match because, you know, it's historic, as Stephanie McMahon will put it. But I think the Riot Squad are going to get taken out, and that's going to be a factor in them getting eliminated so easy in the chamber match. I think it's just a foregone conclusion. I mean, we know that Rousey is deeply ingrained into the Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch triple threat situation, and I don't think Ruby Riott will be the one to derail her momentum on the road to WrestleMania. So for that reason, probably the most easiest prediction of the night, watch me eat my words later, but I think Ronda Rousey's going to win.
Is it really any surprise at this point? I've already said before that Ronda Rousey has had one hell of a dominant reign. Like, she's been champion since what? SummerSlam? God, that didn't even feel like that long ago, but time really flies by fast in general, you know. And quite frankly, it should be obvious at this point that Ronda Rousey is more than likely going to win. And it's a damn shame that the Riot Squad has fallen. But they're probably still going to stick together and still deal with this haphazardness at times. And yeah, Ronda Rousey to absolutely positively win. Our next match is Bobby Lashley and his hype man, Little Leo Rush, versus Finn Balor for the Intercontinental Championship. A handicap match? Yeah, ain't that something? So, on the January 28th episode of Raw, while Finn Balor was addressing his loss to Universal Champion Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, he was interrupted by the Intercontinental Champion, the Almighty, and I put that in quotes, Bobby Lashley, and his manager Leo Rush. Lashley claimed that he was better than Lesnar and then attacked Balor. The following week, Balor was scheduled to face Lashley, but they pulled a bait and switch on us and had had Balor face Leo Rush. Lashley stated that depending on Balor's performance, he would consider giving him a title shot, but before the match could begin, Lashley attacked Balor. Despite this, Balor still defeated Rush, and now Finn Balor is scheduled to take on both Bobby and Leo in a handicap match at the Elimination Chamber with the Intercontinental Championship on the line. So yeah, if you thought you couldn't stack the odds against Balor before, why not make this a handicap match? Really have some odds to overcome here, but hey, I mean, this could still be entertaining enough as is. Healy, who do you think's gonna win?
Okay. Well, there's only two possible reasons why there'd be a handicap match in the first place for this IC title match. One of them is the most likely for me is to keep the Balor and Lashley match as fresh as it can be. I know it's not the most enticing matchup, but that's probably what's in WWE's head right now. Another reason, which I don't think is going to happen because I think WWE are allergic to giving Balor titles, is Rush is probably there to get pinned. They wouldn't have Lashley get pinned so soon into his heel run. If he hasn't been pinned already, I don't think he has. Balor needs a title at this point, though. I mean, you can only lose so many times before you're an absolute afterthought, and everyone just forgets you and your credibility goes out the window, unless you're someone like Sami Zayn. After losing to Lesnar at Royal Rumble, he needs momentum desperately. Otherwise, going into WrestleMania season, he will be dead on arrival. I can't see the IC title match getting its own spotlight as a one-on-one match at WrestleMania. If anything, it's going to be a multi-man match, which will include Strowman, McIntyre, maybe Angle. It's one of these things where it's a 50-50 decision. It can go straight down the middle. It could be Lashley, it could be Balor. At this point, it's a case of, does WWE care about the outcome, as it won't affect the overall match at Mania? It's like a Walking Dead game where the decision, they say it affects the outcome, but it just goes right back to the whole plot, the singular plot line.
Yeah, I'm gonna matter any Telltale game for that matter.
Exactly, you know it.
Yeah.
But for this, I think I'm just gonna go with a safe option. WWE don't really like switching titles so much on a B level, or if people want to say C level pay-per-view. So I'm gonna go with Bobby Lashley along with the conniving tactics of Leo Rush to retain.
Yeah, I've heard that there's not going to be any major title changes on the show. So, with the exception of the women's tag belts, a new champion's being crowned, none of the other titles will be changing hands from what I heard. So probably all the main champions will retain, at least the ones they've got advertising. So I really would like Balor to win, but honestly, I don't know if they're just gonna save the win for Mania and maybe have him win at Mania, unlike last year when he lost in that triple threat intercontinental match with Seth Rollins and The Miz. Yeah, I might as well just go ahead and go with Bobby Lashley now. Lower B grade pay-per-views don't tend to get hyped too much here, and if the rumor is true that there are no major title changes, then I think probably more than likely, yeah, I'm going to go with Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush. I have saved the absolute most pointless match of this entire card for last. Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin. Okay, I accidentally clicked stop recording there for a moment, but now we're back because I forgot to mention one thing. This match is going to be no disqualification. Why? For no reason other than we have to do something, I guess, or whatever. Okay, so during the second half of 2018, Baron Corbin was the acting general manager of Raw, and Braun Strowman was on the receiving end of his authority, including one of the worst goddamn matches in all of WWE history, at probably the worst WWE pay-per-view I've ever seen in my entire life. And at TLC, Strowman got his revenge against Corbin in the titular match, even though there's really only chairs, and because he was apparently injured at the time, literally a whole bunch of other people who were all sick of Corbin's shit came in with chairs and beat the shit out of him. Yeah, so at least he lost all his authoritative power, and he earned another Universal Championship match at the Royal Rumble. Except no. Because on the January 14th episode of Raw, Corbin just doesn't know when to stay the hell out of people's business. Let me just put it to you like that, ladies and gentlemen. He chased Corbin into the parking area where he ended up damaging McMahon's limousine, Vince McMahon, because Corbin hid it in there because he knew this was going to happen and lost the title opportunity. Although, to be fair, we did get a better match, so I guess I can't complain, but really, I would have probably just had him get blindsided to get taken out personally, and then determine a number one contender that way, and save that title shot for another show. So Strowman and Corbin continue going at each other over the next couple of weeks, and the no disqualification match was scheduled for the two at Elimination Chamber. Well, originally it wasn't, but then it was haphazardly known as no disqualification, like, at the last minute. There's a reason I call this the absolute most pointless match on this entire card. Because this feud should quite frankly be over. And yet it's not, somehow. Even though they've only had one match, the drawn-out promos make it feel like they've been going at it for so damn long. Even though they really only had one match together, and this will be their second. I get it, the first match really wasn't that much of a match, and more as a less for just Baron to get his comeuppance against all of those he had wronged. But I seriously just don't want to see this feud. WWE doesn't know when enough is enough, and in storyline neither would Baron. Also, he still dresses like he owns the place, even though he's reduced to practically nothing, because apparently putting him in his old ring gear and having a shirt on is apparently too much for them. At least, I'm assuming it is. Edie, who do you think's gonna win?
You took the words right out of my mouth. It's only the second encounter. We're not counting tag team matches right now. It's the second singles encounter, the first being at TLC. And just for the record, I was one of the fans that were genuinely excited for the TLC match because it had a lot of riding on it. I'm a fan of Braun Strowman. I'm a fan of Baron Corbin. I'm just not a fan of these two in the storyline together. And coming from a guy who wanted this match to happen at TLC, and if you just hear me saying that I do not want this match to happen right now, you can tell how much they've put the storyline into the ground and buried it. It just doesn't entice me anymore. I'm sure it doesn't entice 99.9% of the WWE universe right now. I've not been watching Raw like in its entirety for the past few weeks because I don't feel like there's much there. It just feels repetitive. I don't understand why the match is happening. I don't understand why they're still feuding, maybe because there's nothing else going for them. I can only see two outcomes coming out of this, and that's a tag match in the Mania at WrestleMania involving Kurt Angle and Drew McIntyre, or like I mentioned in my Intercontinental title match prediction, there will be a multi-man match for that title at Mania. Strowman has to win. I'm just going to say it right now. Strowman absolutely has to win. Corbin has nothing to gain by winning this. I don't even know why he wants to win this. I mean, he has been reduced to nothing. He does go around like he owns the place. He needs a new outfit change. This Constable Corbin looks definitely outdated. I think he needs to lose in order to repackage and reprogram himself. Strowman needs his win going into Mania season. He's one of the hottest commodities, in spite of WWE's booking right now. So for that reason, I think Strowman, he has to. He doesn't just have to win. He has to convincingly win. He has to steamroll Baron Corbin. Strowman just has to win. I'm going with Strowman.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and outright say it. Strowman honestly really needs to win. His momentum has been halted so badly. Like, just between the fucking crown.
Oh god, just between that match and between this damn feud and losing the Universal title match in storyline, even though apparently Balor v. Lesnar was always the plan, but WWE advertises it as one way because they think Balor versus Lesnar wouldn't sell tickets, but that is complete and utter bullshit. But that is also beside the point. Like, just have Strowman win and just get Corbin off our fucking screens. Like, at this point, I'm getting, like, this genuine kind of go away heat. Like, you are a blight to this product, and I want you off of my screen. Kind of, like, heat. Like, every time I just hear his theme, like, it just knocks the wind out of me every time I hear his theme. Just, oh. And I wonder if his old ring look with the shirt combined with the baldness, I wonder if it just wouldn't look good. But you know what? Honestly, they need to do something, apparently. They just need to do something. Just repackage him. Just, Strowman to win. God damn this feud to hell. Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, that took a lot of wind out just trying to get through some of this. Don't get me wrong, most of the card still looks fine as is, save for Strowman and Corbin again, but I really can't see much else going wrong here if they don't fuck things up. But knowing WWE, we have to hope for the best and expect the worst. And Healy, thank you for joining me once again, as always.
No problem. I'll see you guys later.
And yes, I will see all of you later too. Yeah, and we'll see you for the next pay-per-view. Fastlane, actually. So, until then, bye for now.